Hi, I'm Julia Ain-Krupa, and this is the Impatient Moviegoer. Today I want to talk to you about the film Corsage, which was recently shortlisted for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars. A Feast for the Eyes, Corsage is a portrait of the Empress Elizabeth of Austria, also known as Sisi, currently being depicted in numerous international productions as the sort of it girl of the last days of the Habsburg era. In Corsage, we meet Sisi, exquisitely portrayed by Vicky Krieps, as she reaches her 40th birthday and in many ways becomes undone. This undoing is simultaneously depicted as a kind of liberation, as Sisi finds freedom from the trappings of her royal life, seeking out a new self that can exist beyond the fine constrictive bones of her corset. The German term for a corset is a corsage. As Marie Kreutzer, the film's director, has said, the antagonist in the film is her image. As Elizabeth's doctor remarks in the film, his finger wagging, Sisi's female subject's life expectancy is also age 40, and she'd better be sure to take care. His answer to aiding Sisi's self-care is to prescribe her heroin, suggesting that it's a perfectly harmless drug, even though she will subsequently become addicted. Sisi responds to the doctor's warning by sticking her tongue out in defiance, daring the doctor, the camera, the world. "Watch me," we hear her saying. Words transmitted by a mere look that flickers beneath the cool and perfect facade. Whether you like it or not, things are about to change, and the unspoken words keep coming. And so Corsage gives us an encounter with the most revered queen as she's being thrust out of the limelight and into what would be considered by many to be her great decline. Of course, in a modern world, the thought of a woman deteriorating at the age of 40 is perhaps laughable, and yet, of course, there are traces of that stigma that remain. There's also a gift that accompanies this destabilizing time. That is the advantage of unburdening, of leaving behind the obligation that a woman often feels to be agreeable and good. Kreutzer said it perfectly at a Q&A at Lincoln Center when she stated, "This film for me is about women being raised by society in order to be loved. By society to please in order to be loved." I could not have said it better myself. Kreutzer also remarked that Sisi is a woman who doesn't want to meet the expectations anymore. And so here we go. There is a duality that plays out before us as the film unfolds. What appears to society as her unraveling, a falling apart that might even resemble insanity, is also a path by which Sisi takes the reins of her own life into her hands. She moves away from the projected image and into embodiment, sometimes carefree and fun, and at others dark and dangerous. But it is all hers as she ceases to exist exclusively for the eyes of others. The first indication of this transition takes place while Sisi is having her portrait painted, and the artist snidely remarks that her skin tone has changed. The Empress cavalierly replies that she's been out in the fresh air quite a bit. "No, it isn't that," the artist replies, daggers flying from his mouth, his eyes. The subtext is perfectly clear, and in a fury, Sisi insists that he copy other portraits from her younger years. We feel her frustration as she wrestles with the need to remain in control of that which is truly uncontrollable. A passing glance, an empty table, an uneaten feast. These are all indicators of Sisi's profound solitude as she passes through life. There are ladies in waiting, ready to attend to her every need. They measure her waist, record her weight, and tighten her corsage. They even brush and care for her long golden hair. And yet she is deeply isolated. She is universally revered, but struggles to make any true connection, unsuccessful in her search to find passion and love. Her husband is mostly absent and rarely comes to her bed. Her cousin, with whom she wishes a greater closeness, visiting him in the countryside, is otherwise directed. Even her own daughter keeps a playful distance, politely playing the good little adult, reversing the roles, upholding her father's way of life. Corsage takes an original approach to creating the landscape of another time, inserting the occasional stamps of modernity, lending a fresh lens to this historical drama. Choices stem from a place of feeling. Kreutzer's unique style is established through the placement of random contemporary objects, the use of cinematic devices normally associated with a different kind of film, and bold musical choices lend a pulsing beat to the heart of Cece's transformation. Note the French press filled with brewed coffee that is placed alongside an otherwise perfect breakfast tableau. The pastel-colored gold-tipped Fantasia cigarettes, which I might add have really desperately made me dream of smoking again, and it's very annoying, but they're very beautiful and they work perfectly in the film. The cinematic language of Corsage allows for a reality that is part fantasy, veering slightly from the true Cece story in a narrative that is constructed by emotional truths, and in taking liberties with the film, subtly shedding conventions as a new aesthetic is born. Kreutzer's musical choices are soulful and unusual, calling to mind some of the playfulness of Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette. Although Corsage is completely different, more focused and intense, it does seem that Kreutzer may have felt free to make these unconventional choices, in part thanks to the path set out by Coppola in 2006. The repeated refrain of the emotional song She Was by the French singer Camille, with the haunting lyrics, Go, go away, elevate the image, imbuing them with feeling, underlying the sense that creeps is shedding her royal skin, transforming as she pursues her longing to the greatest depths. The film boasts a kind of decadent austerity that is appealing. Each costume, every set, down to the very frame, to the half-light of day, to the orange segments displayed on a floral china plate and the porcelain tea set bearing scones and clotted cream that trembles with the bumps in the road as the royal carriage moves along. All of it is established with care, as Cece's very existence is seen through a lens of beauty, even as she strives to cast off this perfect image. Kreutzer and cinematographer Judith Kaufman have worked in concert to create a kind of visual ecstasy. From moonlit swims in inky waters, the closest Cece may come to fulfilling her physical desires, to the moment she cuts off her endless golden locks or opens her mouth wide to permit her cousin to pour melted chocolate into her mouth, from a warm summer's evening spent sitting numbly in the garden, dress off her shoulders, a small anchor tattoo exposed, while a woman sings Marianne Faithfull's song as tears go by, strumming the tune on her harp. Now all of Cece's days are lived out in a movement towards total abandonment. This goal is reached when Cece has the ingenious idea to have her lady-in-waiting, Marie, who Cece has insisted remain a spinster, starve herself in her place, so that she can wear a veil and become Cece's stand-in for life. This plan is so well executed that even Cece's daughter cannot tell the difference, a chilling demonstration of how little she knows her mother. This duality is taken to the extreme when Cece travels to Italy with her ladies-in-waiting. All of them wear black, and a veiled Marie is given an identical tattoo, one that presumably allows her to completely replace Cece, who has also just arranged a young mistress for her husband. Together, along with Cece's other ladies-in-waiting, they board a massive ship. We already know that Cece loves the sea and that she's alluded to wanting to die there. So as Cece leaps ecstatically from the bow of the ship, we cannot help but feel that her solution to escaping her life is to end it by suicide. And yet there is also a feeling of happiness, and as the joyful song in Italy by Soap and Skin begins to play. And as the credits roll, we see a liberated Cece dancing freely, happier than she ever was in life. There is something, of course, deeply unsettling about the mode by which Cece frees herself. A statement as to how few her choices are, even if she is an empress. Despite the playful music and the ecstatic image, her leap is still a sad reminder that throughout history, a woman's greatest solution to escaping the confines of her life has been to end her life in order to achieve another kind of homecoming. Though I must say that perhaps Kreutzer was here trying to also give the character some agency, for in real life Cece was murdered, stabbed while on a walk in Switzerland by an Italian anarchist. Early on in the film, Cece visits a local hospital. Accompanied by her daughter, she delivers candied violets to men who are wounded and sick. Later, she becomes fixated on the mental ward inhabited by women and even has her husband donate money to build new facilities for them. She develops an attachment to these women, watching on quietly as they rage in cages or bound in bandages, weep uncontrollably. It is painful and disturbing to see, also as an audience member. They are misunderstood, displaced. I like to be with the women, she says quietly while visiting the asylum. She sees herself in them. With them, she feels she can be understood. So with that, I'm wrapping up on that very uplifting note. I'm wrapping up our Valentine's edition of The Impatient Moviegoer. Corsage is a very beautiful film, so I hope you see it and have a beautiful day. Have some cake. Enjoy this Valentine's Day. Keep trying to look for the beauty in life and keep watching movies. Until next time, thank you for listening. I'm Julia Ain-Krupa, and this is The Impatient Moviegoer. Have a wonderful day.